My name is Andrej Perniš. I am a product manager from company Ecom Slovakia, which is a manufacturer of oilless compressors. So today's topic is going to be quite interesting, although for a dentist it might be a little bit obscure because we will be talking about things which are almost hidden. So you cannot see it in real life, right? So we will be talking about compressors and mainly about compressed air, which is a very hard worker for a dentist, right? But it's not visible, right? All right, so let's begin the story. Okay, so I'm sure that do you know this? But anyway, this is a question. Do you know this? Of course, you do, right? But do you know this? Sometimes yes, sometimes no, because it's hidden. It's somewhere hidden in the technical room or maybe somewhere at the basement. So anyway, it is a hard worker for a dentist, but sometimes it's hidden. This is a compressor, right? But every day you can see this. So dental instruments, very well known, well, very far familiar with you. Dental tools, scalers, patient month, lamps, and definitely this is exactly what you would like to see after your hard work. Nice looking teeth, right? Okay, but have you ever thought about how does a patient see you? Maybe like this? Or better like this, right? So what I want to say that this presentation is going to be how to see things a little bit different, right? So let's see things in a different way. Let's see things differently. Or through the different optics, right? So let's look at that. Because sometimes things may look like this. We are talking about basements, not very clean places sometimes. Air distribution, or perhaps the distribution for a suction, for a vacuum. The same story. And about compressors. And these compressors, again, they have to work sometimes in quite dirty places, dirty areas, right? Dusty, right? So they sometimes do not smile. All right, so this is the real beginning of the story. So let's talk about clean and dry air in stomatology. Okay, so there are many, I would say, different requirements which are set up by producers of dental units, right? Or by a local legislation as for a quality for dental air. But in general, they require always the same or very similar thing. They require air which needs to be clean, which needs to be dry, and which is required to be oil-free. So these three things are requested. Why do we need this clean air for, actually? Or what devices do we need this clean air for? Definitely for dental units, for CAD/CAMs, for dental laboratories. There are many applications in dental laboratories for cleaning, for polishing, or generally for air restoration, for disinfection and sterilization, and generally for air distribution system. If we have more dental units and we've got one compressor, and actually we distribute the air through the pipings, right? Okay, so we've got here many examples. But first, did you know how compressed air is made? Let's look at this. This may be interesting for you because it's hidden. You'll never see that. Right? So we've got air pump, which is very hard worker for you, right? And inside of the air pump, there is something which is beating. It's like a heart, right? And this heart is called a piston, which is covered with Teflon. So we do not, there's no oil there, right? And there are two valves, one on the top of each other. So actually there are two valves. So when the one valve is closed, the second valve is open, and reverse. And this makes a compressed air. And two-valve system works in crystal clean brass cylinder, right? So inside of the compressor there is really very clean environment. Let's look on the path, journey of the air. It is intaken, going through the filter, which is 5 micron. So this is 5 micron filtration. So we are intaking clean air, then the air passes through the piston with Teflon rings for perfect sealing. Then it goes into the compressing chamber, and then the second valve opens and we are compressing the air. And the air continues through the hose to the tank. So this is the life cycle of one heartbeat of a compressor. Yeah, and it works 1,450 times per minute. So this is a revolution of the piston, or these are heartbeats. We say, okay, this is a heartbeat. Right, but when we are intaking the air, we are intaking also a humidity. It is going through the system along with the air. And in the compression chamber, the humidity together with the air is squeezed, compressed, right? Although we cannot squeeze, we cannot compress the water molecules. But anyway, we are increasing the concentration of the water. And that high concentrated air continues to the tank. So actually, we will have, in the end of the day, we will have very saturated air in the tank. However, with that compression, we increase also the temperature of the air. So actually, there will be two parameters very important, right? High temperature and high humidity in the tank because of the compression. All right, so this is the good beginning point. Let's start with the clean dental air. Why? Why do we need clean dental air? Because of this. Because of pollution, because of the dust in the environment, because of the contaminants in the environment, right? We inhale this, but we live. So we are used to that, right? But when we compress the air, we exponentially are enlarging the contamination, let's call it like a contamination in the tank, right? So solid particles are a subject. Here we have a good example, right? I will be focusing only on some parts. So this is the size of the solid particles, right? In microns, 100 microns and 0.01 microns. For us, it's nice, maybe sawdust, maybe pollen. Pollen is in the flowers, right? Bacteria. Can you see the range? Somewhere at 0.3 microns, between 10 and 0.3, and viruses. So if we are about to filter, let's say, bacteria plus viruses, we should be with the filters somewhere here. If we decide to have viruses-free air, right? So we should use 0.01 filtration, quite a strong filtration. I will come back to that a little bit later. So why do we need clean air? Because dust and other contamination may be a ground for bacteria and viruses, may do a damage to dental equipment, syringes, valves, turbines, micromotors, handpieces, scalers, and definitely, right, generally this is a health and safety risk for patient and doctor, dentists. Here are examples using a turbine with contaminated air and without. So here are the filters, sometimes used even for dental applications. We can start somewhere at 15 microns and go up to 0.01. It's optional, so we can opt what filtration do we need for special application if it is needed, right? All right, but remember, and this is a nice point, compressor inlet filter is 5 micron, and this is perfectly enough for general dental use. You do not need better filtration. Why? Because we live in a normal living environment. We inhale normal air, right? We are used to common bacteria, common, let's say, viruses, right? So we do not need to kind of exaggerate our efforts to filter everything. Anyway, we live in that environment, right? Of course, there are some requirements, and you need quite clean air. For example, filtration 0.01, right? But for a general dental use, you do not need more than 5 micron. And this is just a simple inlet filter. Dry dental air. So this is the next section that was attached to the clean air. Now let's look at the dry air. Why? Because of this. What is this? I tell you, the answer is a condensation. So this is a condensation which may happen in the air tank, for example, right? Why? Because it is very tightly connected to high temperature and high humidity, saturation, which is a result of a compressing the air. Attention, please. We are touching a physics right now. Okay, let's look at just one graph very quickly. And this is a physics, okay? Don't be scared, right? Don't be scared. This is the temperature of air, considering the air is saturated. So actually, in the tank, we have always saturated air, always. This is the temperature of that air. And this is the content of water vapor present at each temperature point, considering the air is saturated. So from the head of the compressor, the temperature, the air temperature is about 80 degrees Celsius. Look at that. It can contain for about 290 grams of water vapor. I'm talking about water vapor in cubic meter, right? But from the physics, each cooling point, when we cool down the air, the capability to hold, to retain a water vapor is going dramatically down. So when we cool down the air in the tank, we've got 40 degrees Celsius because a tank is a cooler, right? And look at this, the air can keep only 50 grams. So actually the difference, 290 minus 50, 240 grams have to condense into a water. The next in the hoses and all etc. Right? So what it means, the cooler the air is, the less water vapor it can hold. So it must condense as a physical water, as a condensate. This is exactly what I said. But in real life, we've got the compressor, we've got the dental unit, we've got a hose, considering 3 to 4 meters, right? We've got the temperature gradient, because the air coming out from the head, it is about 80 degrees Celsius, saturated with water, 100% relative humidity, right? Because of the compression. So, okay, 80, 30 approximately, right? And the temperature gradient, hottest or warmest and coolest air. Considering that physics, right? We will have in the tank, because the tank is a cooler, so we have here around 40 degrees Celsius, 80 to 40. So much water will condense in the tank. Some water will condense in the hose, because the hose is again a cooler. Some water will condense in the dental unit. And of course, with the flow of air, you will push that water out of the system. So you've got that water in the instruments. Sometimes it is recommended, and I strongly recommend that just for that case, to assemble a water trap at the dental unit inlet, I would say, right? So that the water, which is a result of the condensation, will be captured in that water trap. This is a good point. All right, remember, condensation is a normal physical phenomenon. This is normal, nothing strange. It will happen with every compressor which you have in the basement or in a technical room. Of course, if you do not have a dryer, but I will talk about dryer in few slides. All right. So if you do not have a dryer, you have to take into consideration that physical phenomenon of condensation. So you have the water in the tank, and it is recommended to drain the tank regularly, of course. This is very important for med sister, or for a doctor, right? Everyone who takes care for a compressor to drain a tank regularly because of that physics. So if there's water in the tank, this may cause, so if somebody do not drain the tank regularly, so air tank volume is reduced and compressor starts and stops more often, right? It has a strange behavior because the volume is low in the tank, reduced by the water. Corrosion, of course, a ground for a bacteria growth, because a tank, it's a quite high temperature in the tanks. It's about 40 to 50 degrees Celsius. So this is a perfect ground for growing bacteria. Okay, and water in the dental chair, if it continues through the system to the chair, what may cause? Of course, corrosion and wear of the fittings and valves in the dental units, damaging electrical instruments, micromotors, health and safety hazard, waterborne microorganisms. This is the question, very important question, right? Biological compatibility and all this stuff. So this is a perfect ground. High temperature and water is a good ground for growing bacteria. And failing treatment, it is impossible to dry the treatment area, right? So by the way, did you know that? One dental chair, actually with a compressor, which is suitable for one dental chair, is capable to condensing of 1 liter of water every 6 hours of compressor operation. I mean a pure time of a compressor operation, right? Of course, this may be because compressor doesn't work continuously, so it may take maybe 1 day. Not this. So normally, dentist work. The compressor works with dentists around 3 hours a day. This is a typical situation with the dentist. So it's a 2-day situation. Okay. So how does a compressor dry the air? And now we come to the nice question: what to do with the humidity? Let's dry it. Let's use a dryer, right? Of course, we will use compressed air dryers. One of these, I will mention only 2 membrane dryers. Nice ones, very quiet ones, right? So every time the dryer consists of the cooler, so we cool down the air. You remember the physics behind. So we cool down the air, so some water will condense in the radiator. Then we capture the water, we filter water, there is a filtration here, and then we go to the dryer itself. So this is a dryer tube, right? A membrane dryer tube. And of course, we drain our water with the automatic drain system. So this is an automatic drying system. How does it work? The membrane dryer. There are many tubes inside. And these tubes has a porosity perfectly set up for water molecules, and humid air goes in, and those walls will let go water molecules to the outside. So these tubes, these fibers, membranes, they work like a filter, like a selective filters, right? They filter water molecules, something like this. This is a one cycle. Actually, this cycle is continuous, right? But we have cut it to the one picture. So the water molecules are collected from the outside, and then some part of dry air is blowing, is purging, right? Did you see that smoke? But this is actually water vapor, which goes out to the atmosphere, right? So this way we dehumidify the air with the membrane dryers. How about adsorption dryers? So this is strange. Actually, you may have ever seen these strange things mounted on the compressor, either one chamber or two chambers, right? Adsorption dryers. They utilize very nice thing. It is a natural thing, natural material. Sometimes they call it molecular sieve, right? Or adsorbents, or zeolites. Small beads. This is really beads, right? Small balls of a natural material. Very porous. It's very porous material, right? Natural. How does it work? This is an example of one. So we are dehumidifying the air, passing through those many zeolites, and when it is saturated, we stop the drying and we do the regeneration or desorption process. What does it mean? It means that these zeolites, the molecular sieve, can be regenerated, right? After filling all these pores with water molecules, after saturation. So that is why every adsorption dryer consists of a adsorption process or drying process, and then stop the drying and backwards regeneration, right? And this process can be repeated many times. Sometimes, I would say, many adsorption dryer manufacturers, they say it's about 8,000 hours, right? 8 to 10,000 hours, and then you need to replace that molecular sieve. But did you know that the dryers do not dry the compressed air absolutely? This is good to know, because somebody thinks, okay, when I use a dryer, I will have absolutely dry air. This is not true. Be careful. Dryers make compressed air non-condensing at room temperatures, or the normal dental dryer, it makes the air non-condensing at temperatures up to +3 degrees Celsius, right? If you potentially dry the air in the hose to temperatures below 3, you will get another condensation, right? But this is perfectly enough for dental, right? It is like a common rule which is accepted by dental equipment manufacturer and manufacturers of oil-free compressed air. +3 is okay. Oil-free dental air, why? Definitely. Oil, I would say, if somebody uses old oil compressor, right? Oil is used, or was used sometimes in the past, for lubrication, right? So oil consists of very light particles which may continue through the system, and these light particles may damage a dental equipment. They soft rubber sealing and create deposits in air parts of dental equipment over a time, right? Of course, the same health and safety risk, because the patient and dentist inhale those particles. And oil particles together with water are feeding ground for microorganisms. And last but not the least, very important, that oil particles in compressed air may lead to a bonding failure, because they create a kind of a oil layer, right? Of course, depends on the concentration, but there are some oil particles which actually, at the end of the day, when you finished your treatment, right, when you put the dent in, that oil layer may actually maybe a kind of a barrier for better bonding or optimal bonding. So that is why clean and dry air is important. All right, so let's see, because I'm from Ecom, right? And I have been with this company for actually 17 years. So I love these products, actually. So all what we have taught, what we have explained is concentrated in one machine, right? Filtration, this is the air pump. We are intaking the clean air. Then we are cooling the air in a pre-cooler. Then we are filtering again and separating the water. And then we are dehumidifying, with the dryer. And we we collect in the tank dry and clean compressed air. So this is the whole story about compressor and actually the clean air. Let us talk about ISO standards. So far I haven't shown you any standard. We have one standard, which is ISO 2020-052, which is valid from 2020 and is continuously being harmonized with countries across the European Union. And these standards talk about central compressed air source equipment, right? And here is the short definition. So this new standard addresses the requirements for central compressed air sources for use in the dental area, considering any source with a capacity more or equal 50 liters per minute. For example, this is a compressor for one dental chair that is not located directly in the office, but is located in a separate utility room to be a central source. So according to this standard, even the smallest compressor from our perspective, from our eyes, which is one dental chair, is considered as a central source of compressed air. Of course, according to this standard, if it is located in the separate room, not in the patient room. And here are definitions or arguments why they recommend this standard to the members of European Union, right? So to protect sensitive dental instruments and apparatus, to provide clean, dry, and oil-free air, to avoid the dental procedures are compromised, to protect against high humidity that creates corrosion and all, etc., and to protect against the growth of microorganisms in the dental air system. And this is the exact definition what is required by this ISO standard. So they use another ISO standard, but if we translate it into the language, comprehensive language, that they recommend the filtration minimally 0.1, humidity exactly what I have said, right? So it is enough to dehumidify the air to the non-condensing level up to the level plus 3 degrees Celsius, right? When you potentially cool down the air to the plus 3, you will have no condensation. And oil particles like this, okay? All right, a summary. Every dental equipment manufacturer will always require air clean, dry, and oil-free. What you will get? Longer lifetime of dental equipment if you use really high, I would say, quality compressor which provides clean, oil-free, dry air. It makes sense to invest into that compressor. A longer lifetime of the dental equipment, lower maintenance, cost saving. I'm talking about dental unit and dental instruments. Excellent patient care, and that's it, right? So this is these are benefits which are worth thinking about when you are considering which compressor would you like to have, would you like to buy, would you like to use for your dental practice. So, last slide. Let me introduce our product. Actually, this is the compressor for two dental chairs. I just have taken it for this presentation. 2 valves, 2 cylinders, 2 dental chairs. Of course, with the dryer, with the filtration. So actually, if we are talking about ISO 2020-020, this is exactly what you see, right? Filtration plus a dryer, which is behind. Dry and air. Actually, talking about the dryer, just to add the information, a dryer consists of the filtration. I explain you, there is a filtration behind the radiator. And inside, in the dryer system, behind the pre-cooler, there is a filter 0.1. So this is exactly what the ISO 20052 requires, right? This one. But only when you use a dryer. When you do not use the dryer, normally we have only intake and filter with 5 microns. This is a part of the dryer system. All right, we are active in many areas. So this is just to let you know where we work. So definitely in the dental, we have more than 30 years tradition of manufacturing compressors in the dental field. In dental laboratory field, of course, CAD/CAMs and all this stuff. And we provide clean, dry, and oil-free. Every compressor here is oil-free, right? No, we do not have oil compressors for dental laboratories. For respiratory, so actually we also sell compressors for respiratory. I mean ventilators which breathe for patients. So this is very clean medical air, right? For laboratories as well. And we are also active in different kind of business, like manufacturing, food and beverage, water treatment trains, right? So these are quite most important areas we work with almost 32 years. All right, the main benefits. These are really main benefits which I would like to conclude my presentation. What will you get with the Ecom? Actually, sorry for this advertising. I love this product, so only 2 slides. So as for Ecom, actually, I would say the main mission is to provide a product which will last forever. Let's call it forever, right? This is very long-lasting product. This is our decision to provide this dentist with the compressor which will last 10, 15, 20 years. We've got compressors with our dentists which they have been working more than 20 years if they are maintained properly. What does it mean maintained, right? Change the filter, that's it, right? Sometimes change the piston, but the filters are important, that's it, right? And with the app, actually, you can go into the App Store or Google Play, download our map. You can register our product, right, when you buy a new one. And actually, you may get 5-year warranty, right? 5-year warranty, of course, exclusively when you use that product within our app, right? And this warranty we are starting since August 2024. So in few months, this is the, I would say, news, right? But the lifetime, the long lifetime and reliability, this is our mission, right? This is exactly what we are manufacturing the compressors for. All right. So it is said, it is common known, right, that our compressors, they are our heritage sometimes. So they go from the father to the son, right? They really last over generations, right? Sometimes the dentist, they buy a new dental chair, but the compressor will remain the same, right? So that is our position, right? Our mission, our strong idea, which we bring as a benefit.